We know that the best universities are going to move faster and further than other universities if they can think as an institution. And I honestly believe Notre Dame should be number one. We should be the best place in the country at that. We have a common Catholic mission. We are all located here in South Bend. Very few people actually live even more than 15 minutes from campus. We should be able to collaborate and cooperate better and more effectively than any other university in the country. And I think that's happening.
That was John T. McGreevy, the Charles and Gerald Fischer Provost of the University of Notre Dame. McGreevy talks about Notre Dame 2033, a strategic framework. He shares insights on meaningful progress made, how the strategic framework connects to the day-to-day work we do, and how we can better think as an institution. I'm Natalie Davis Miller, and this is NDWorks. Welcome to the NDWorks Podcast, John.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we're about 3 years into a 10-year strategic framework. Where are you seeing the most meaningful progress so far?
You know, it's kind of amazing. We're 3 years in, isn't it? It almost feels like it was yesterday that we released the framework. But I'm very positive about the progress that we made so far. One thing we called for in the framework was we needed to enhance our undergraduate financial aid, and Father Bob picked up on that in his inaugural address. And so now we have need-blind aid for every applicant who applies to Notre Dame, domestic or international, and we've eliminated loans in our financial aid packages. We've also made it more clear to parents and students what you'll pay at Notre Dame, depending on certain levels of family income. So I feel great about that affordability and access. Feel really good about the university initiatives that we've launched. You remember we said that we wanted to identify issues that align with Notre Dame's Catholic mission, where we think we can find really great internal or external leaders that are on matters of great importance to the world and where we're already pretty good and where we can go to great. And we've launched 8 separate initiatives. It's a lot. And we're working hard to make sure that we do go from good to great, that we become one of the world's best places, say, in the study of poverty or in sustainability or in other areas. And so those 2 areas of the framework, as you can tell, I could talk for a long time about this. Those 2 are 2 that I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. So, John, how do you see the strategic framework connecting to the day-to-day work happening across campus? For example, where do you see people contributing in ways they might not even realize?
Yeah. You know, everybody's contributing to the framework. We really wrote it as a document for the whole university, not just the academic core of the university. And so, one example would be you take a science lab. And so Patty Champion, who's a friend of mine, she's a great biologist, and she runs a lab looking at really interesting questions about devices that can improve the quality of medical care. And, Patty is a distinguished biologist, but she doesn't work alone. There are postdoctoral fellows in her lab. That is people who did a PhD elsewhere and come to work in their lab. There are graduate students in her lab getting trained and getting their PhDs. There are undergraduates getting some experience in research. And then I think of all the staff members, that's who I particularly think of, who make that lab possible. So we have people in IT who make sure that she gets the power that she needs and the computing capacity. We have people who make sure the heat is on. That's very important in a science building, that you have a consistent supply of heat and regulate the temperature. We have people who make the grounds out. She's in McCourtney. She's lucky to be in McCourtney. And people who make the grounds both inside and outside McCourtney beautiful. We have people in development who raised the money that made McCourtney possible. So behind every great university initiative that we talk about in the framework, truly are dozens of staff members. And it's a team effort. It's faculty and staff working together. Without both groups, you wouldn't be able to do what we hope to do.
Where do you see Notre Dame's Catholic character most clearly shaping the framework? And how are we carrying it out?
It's a hard question because the framework is saturated with the Catholic character. I mean, really, it's all over it. So ask yourself, why do we want to make sure that Notre Dame is affordable and accessible, because we know that a great Catholic university, if it's not affordable and accessible, just won't be a great Catholic university. We need to be open to people from all walks of life, all diversity of occupations and incomes. It's there in the global dimensions of the framework. You know that the Catholic Church is probably the most multicultural, multilingual institution in the world, and that most Catholics in the world actually don't look like John McGreevy. They are living in the global South, and they're in Ecuador and the Philippines and Nigeria. And so that was one reason we said in the framework, we need to make sure Notre Dame better represents the Catholic community over the next generation, or we'll be a less Catholic community. That means to me we need to be welcoming to people from all different kinds of backgrounds. And one reason we did the need-blind financial aid for international undergraduates. We're the 9th place to do that, but that's part of our Catholic mission. We also see it in the areas that we chose where we thought we would become great in terms of research. So I mentioned poverty, but nobody actually has to explain why Notre Dame should be great in the study of anti-poverty programs, that we want to reduce poverty. And that is a core theme in Catholic social thought. 2 weeks ago, I was in Rome for the kickoff of our Just Transitions to Sustainability initiative, which is our environmental and sustainability effort. It was pretty thrilling to be there with top Vatican officials, including the Cardinal who runs the Dicastery for the Promotion of Integral Human Development, and see that our work as the lead university partner in this effort with the Vatican aligns so beautifully with Catholic social thought. So I could go on about that, but I really see it in the areas we choose as research, the kind of questions we want our undergraduates to investigate. I might mention Moreau, which is now this required 1-credit course for all undergraduates that asks them to look at big questions right away as part of a Catholic liberal arts education. So research, education, the kinds of students and people that we attract to Notre Dame, all of it is inflected by our Catholic mission.
You've said we need to think as an institution to succeed. What does that look like in practice? And can you share an example of that?
So this is one of my favorite phrases in the framework, thinking as an institution. And when we don't do it, people quote it right back to me. Hey, John, we're not thinking as an institution here. What we mean by that is we know that the best universities are going to move faster and further than other universities if they can think as an institution. And I honestly believe Notre Dame should be number one. We should be the best place in the country at that. We have a common Catholic mission. We are all located here in South Bend. Very few people actually live even more than 15 minutes from campus. We should be able to collaborate and cooperate better and more effectively than any other university in the country. And I think that's happening. It's always happened, of course, but I think we're getting better and better at it. I'll give you a staff example, 2 staff examples. Joanna McNulty in our office runs a group of finance, the division of finance, but also the division of budget professionals from across the university. And they get together every year for a conference and exchange best practices and talk about how they can work together better. From the Provost's office, we have all the people who are involved in faculty appointments, a group working on that issue. And it's more people than you might think. It's over 100 people are touch faculty appointments because it's a complex process. They're now getting together routinely to talk about the work that they do. Kate Gary, who runs communications in the Provost office, coordinates work for communicators across the academic core of the campus. So a lot of efforts, I think, to pull together staff and faculty from a wide range of areas and departments and programs and institutes on campus to work toward a common goal.
That's great. What progress or momentum are you most encouraged by right now? And what's coming next?
I think the financial aid is probably the biggest story. That's the biggest financial commitment in the history of Notre Dame toward undergraduate financial aid. So I'm really proud that this is Father Bob, of course, is the leader here, but it's also our board of trustees and it's our professionals in the admissions office and Mickey Kidder and a whole range of people committed to making Notre Dame undergraduate education affordable and accessible. I'm also proud of what we've done with graduate students. We've enhanced stipends for them. We now cover graduate student and their families and spouses' health care, which is a big step for us and very few universities have done. I mentioned I'm proud of the university initiatives and the work that they've done. if I had to say what's coming next, we might be watching those. What great faculty are we going to recruit to Notre Dame? What great students? And what great accomplishments are these research initiatives, some of which are just started. They just started in the last year, some of which have been going now for a little bit over 2 years. What are the amazing accomplishments that they're going to be able to claim at year 3, 4, and 5? So those are the things I'm really focused on.
Those are cool things too.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see results.
I hope so. Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
What's one goal in the framework that feels especially ambitious today, but you believe Notre Dame can achieve by 2033?
Yeah, that's a good question. One thing we say in the framework, which was a little bit self-critical, right? We need more top-ranked departments. We need more departments that everyone in the world looks at and says, yep, one of the 10 best places in the world to study X or to do research on Y is at Notre Dame. We have a few of those, but we need more. Now, every other university that we compete with in this country is saying exactly the same thing. So if you were to be interviewing the provost at WashU, St. Louis, or Duke, or Emory, or Stanford, or wherever, they'd say, we need more top 20, top 10 programs. So it's not easy, but I want to be able to say in 2033 that we have dramatically increased the number of programs that everyone in the country looks to Notre Dame and says, yep, they're one of the very best in the world. That's hard and competitive, but I think that's the kind of goal our institution should have.
Well, congratulations on having the best theology department.
We do,
2
number
years
one.
In a row.
And,
right? In a row.
Yes, and philosophy is, top 10 or top 15. And I could talk about a lot of other departments and programs that are superb and excellent. Top 20 law school. I could go on, but we need more of them. So that's a good start. I'm very proud of all of that, but we want more. We want to be ambitious and push ourselves.
So, John, why do you want more top departments? Why is that important?
That gets us back to the very heart of the framework. We need to be the leading global Catholic research university, on par with but distinct from the world's best private research universities. So on par with means we have to be every bit as good with all of their leading programs as the Stanford, Northwestern, Duke. You can make that list as well as I can. We have to be distinct, though, too. The world doesn't need, with great respect, another University of Chicago or Duke or Stanford. It needs a great Notre Dame. But those institutions train a disproportionate number of the world's leaders. The research that occurs at those institutions helps set the agenda for fields from biology to history. So those institutions are culture-shaping institutions. And if we're not every bit as good as they are, we won't be paid attention to. And so we have to have that demand for excellence and demand for leading programs, even as we know we come from a distinct vantage point. That's the beauty of Notre Dame. We're going for both the excellence and the distinctive perspective that the Catholic tradition offers us. And that's really the experiment that is Notre Dame. We want to be every bit as good as those institutions, and we want to do it from a distinct Catholic vantage point. And that's what makes this the most, I think, exciting place to be in American higher education.
Well, this has been exciting talking to you about the strategic framework, and it sounds like we've got a great start and we've got room to do more. So thank you so much for taking time to talk to us about this.
Thank you, and what a wonderful thing that you do this podcast, and I want to just say thanks to all the staff members who listen and my appreciation for their superb work.
Thank you. The NDWorks Podcast is produced by the Office of Internal Communications. We're the team that brings you NDWorks Weekly, the NDWorks newspaper, the Week at ND, and a passion for sharing clear, concise, and interesting information with faculty and staff of the University of Notre Dame. We'll be back next time with more news and stories by and for Notre Dame employees. I'm Natalie Davis Miller. Thanks for listening to NDWorks.